Have you seen the news? There's a war breaking out in the future. Just hope it doesn't happen before the end of this review. What is up everyone, Movie back again with another review, and this is going to be for the 2021 film The Tomorrow War, and this is directed by McKay and stars Pratt, Yvonne Starhovsky, J.K. Simmons and Betty Gilpin. This tells the story of a war 30 years from now when a bunch of aliens begin to dominate Earth and threaten the very existence of mankind. Humans in the present are then called upon to help fight in the future and save the human race. Now, I thought this film had an interesting concept. It was kind of like Terminator meets Aliens, although I knew deep down it wasn't going to be as good as them two movies. But I thought this film had potential if it was executed in the right way. Now, just going by my explanation there, you might think that this is a film that has a ton of action in, and there is no prizes for guessing that one correctly, of course, because this is definitely where the Tomorrow War shines at its best. I thought these gun battles and explosions were really well done, actually, and McKay kind of has talent behind the camera, I feel. He's mainly worked on animation for most of his career, but I think he might have a promising future going forward. Now, the special effects to go with all this were kind of hit and miss for me. Miss being the backdrops and locations. Some of them just looked a little bit cartoonish at times, especially when our characters are at the forefront and there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. But what I was quite impressed with this being a hit, was the CGI on these aliens. Now, I'm not a massive fan of CGI, I've stated this many times on the channel, but when it's done right, I can appreciate it, and I feel like a lot of care has gone on into these creatures, and they were really well designed as well, actually. I mean, the attention to detail was pretty spectacular. I mean, they're not exactly the xenomorph or anything, but they were good enough for sure, definitely for this film anyway. They also feel like a real threat too. The movie does a great job of getting the idea in your head that these things are really, really dangerous, actually, and they are a species that is not to be messed with. And it's no surprise that these soldiers have come from the future to the past to get a bit of help, because you believe they can win this war with ease. Now, there seems to be constant music throughout the film here, especially in these action scenes, but I think it works really well. The Tomorrow War has a decent score going for it, and it works with the story beats as well, actually. I mean, it's just blended really nicely there to help the movie along and get you invested. Now, I say invested, but not for everything. It is a bit of a mixed bag with the story here. The concept, like I said at the start of the film, is really well done, and I think it does play on that to make this film a bit more successful in what it's trying to do. All the future war stuff, all the action scenes were really, really great. That was where I was enjoying the film the most. But it does throw in a lot of emotional story beats as well that just weren't working for me most of the time. Now, I'm just going to put a little mini spoiler warning out here. This is the first time I've ever done this in a movie review for a new release, but I feel like I have to explain my problem with all the emotional stuff that's going on in this film. So if you haven't seen The Tomorrow War and you don't want any spoilers, it's a mini spoiler, like I said. It happens early on in the film, and please just go and watch it and then come back. But this is all involving Pratt's character Dan and his daughter. Now, he's got a really good connection with her when they're younger, but when he goes to this future war, he sees her again and she's like 30 years older, and it plays a lot into the story of these two and their connection and the wrongs that he's done in between these two time zones that the movie jumps with. Now, as a viewer, we only go to these two time zones. We don't know what's happened in the middle there. So I just couldn't get invested with the stuff that she's got problems with him about, and these two sort of coming together to make this connection that they had when they were younger from the first part of the movie. I mean, it just messes with your head when you think about it. But I just couldn't get fully on board with these two characters and what it was trying to do. I didn't feel anything. Like I said, the movie just works best when shit is getting blown up. It really doesn't help Pratt's character either, or us as a viewer, that they want us to get invested, but they just keep lingering us along with the story of what's happened with these two in the past, because she keeps saying to him, oh, I'll tell you what you done 18 years ago that really hurt me, but now's not the time, or I'll tell you about this time period in your life, but when you're ready. I mean, Chris Pratt's character Dan could die at any second, so could she. They're in the middle of a big war. I mean, when are you gonna fucking tell him? Just tell him now and get it over with. Yeah, just didn't work for me that at all. I feel like this isn't helped by the two main characters themselves. Now, I know a lot of people love Chris Pratt, and he does a job for me. I think he was at his best when he was playing Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think most of the time he's just playing himself. He's the same character, and here, there's not much to him. I mean, I wasn't fully on board with him or anything. In fact, most of the cast here is pretty bland, to be honest. Even J.K. Simmons and Betty Gilpin just offer nothing here. There's not much for them to work with, but I know what them two are capable of, and they just felt really wasted here. I mean, it was just, they were just there, and that was it. However, my biggest problem with this film was the writing. It was so noticeable, but I'll explain what I mean here. Chris Pratt will need to see someone and to solve this problem, and he'll just walk into a bar and, oh, there's the guy I need to talk to right there, just in the middle of America, happens to be in the same bar as him, and that moves the story on a little bit. And then he needs to know who a volcano expert is. Now, I don't know many volcano experts, I'm not sure many people do, but Chris Pratt conveniently just knows one, so he goes to him to find out some information. Then he needs something else to do this next task, and this person who no one else would know in real life, he happens to know them, and it just happens in a short period of time to move along the third act. And I was just like, that is some lazy ass writing there. I mean, it just wouldn't happen that way. It just wouldn't, and you will see what I mean more when you watch the film, but it happens a lot of other times in the film as well. It's just convenience to help this story along and get to the end. It wasn't really well thought out in the writing department, in my opinion. Now, despite some of these flaws, I would be lying if I said I wasn't entertained throughout this film. It's a very fast-paced movie, and I was never bored. I mean, if some scenes weren't really working for me, the next big thing was always around the corner. It doesn't really let you breathe. It's just like, boom, go. And that doesn't work all the time, but for the Tomorrow War, it felt right. I just kind of wish that this would have went for a hard 18 or R rating, if you like, because I was getting a lot of Starship Troopers vibes, and one of the best things about that movie is the violence, and I just think this would have been way more memorable if it went for that balls to the walls approach, and it just felt like a bit of a missed opportunity there. But it's, you know, that's a minor gripe on my opinion. I mean, that wouldn't work for everyone, but for me, I just think it would have been a well cooler film. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give The Tomorrow War a 7 out of 10. A decent creature feature that may be worth your time. Okay, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for The Tomorrow War, if I can get my words out right, is that Chris Pratt executively produced this film. Yes, this is the first time he has been executive producer. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. Please consider subscribing to the channel. I've got a lot more reviews coming, lots more videos, and if you want to comment about The Tomorrow War, leave it down below and I'll reply to every single one of you, I promise. Take it all easy guys. I'll see you all in the next video.